It's not parallel in any of the Gospels. In Luke 22:18, I will not drink henceforth of the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of heaven shall come. So finally we get Jesus as James, no wine. No wine until the kingdom. And that's what all the early leaders, and of course that's what the Nazarites did, that's what the Rechabites did, no wine. Now, again, I can't pronounce any judgment on that. We're getting some parallel in John according to my harmonies here. Maybe yours doesn't have it. But John does have John 13:2. The devil, I think probably not Satan. I think it's very important to look at if it's Satan or the diabolou. That's where the Greek comes in handy. Because diabolou definitely is parallel to the Dead Sea Scrolls as Belial. Diabolou, Belial, moves from Hebrew into Greek in the Quran. It's Iblis. Now that's really interesting. That shows you how you get the I in Semitic languages in front of a syllable. Belial goes into Arabic or so on as Iblis, the way you have Iscariot, Sicari, Iscariot, Belial, Iblis. Paul then in Corinthians speaks of Beliar. What has Christ to do with Beliar? I don't have the exact number in front of me, but that's clearly either a mistransmission or something like that. There was no Beliar. Anyway, Judas of Simon Iscariot, during the supper, the devil does it to him. I guess John doesn't have the material about the high priest. I don't know. You have to check me out. And there's a long discussion here about washing Jesus' feet. I have to skip along here. Matthew 26:23. They're at the Passover meal, and who's ever writing this knows something about the Passover meal. That they dip things into a dish. The Jews do it to this day. They dip parsley and so on and so forth into salt water. It's supposed to symbolize this, that, or the other thing. And they go out, let's see, I'm going to go back here now. At that point, I guess Judas Iscariot is going to go out when Jesus knows who's going to betray him. Now this is made very much in the Gospel of Judas Iscariot when they show that Jesus wants this to happen and all this sort of thing. So the Gospel of Judas Iscariot looks like it knows some of the other Gospel portrayals and is trying to counter them. But I'm not a great commentator on that at the moment, so that's just beginning to be argued over. Anyway, he dipped his hand, and more about the Son of Man. And delivering up is very important to look if the word is delivering up, because in the Damascus doctrine over and over again speaks, and they shall be delivered up. Because they did this, that, and the other thing, they shall be delivered up, meaning to foreign armies, to God's vengeance, to things of that kind. So a similar language in the Damascus document, meaning to final judgment and so on. I'm not sure the word in Greek is betrayed him. I think you'll find in the actual Greek it's always delivered, he who delivered him up. Again, I'd have to look if he actually says, I, Rabbi, in 25 of Matthew. John again now has Satan entering him in line 27, 13:27, again speaks of Judas of Simon Iscariot, which can mean son of, brother of, or whatever. And if it's Simon Iscariot, which I think is probably just as accurate, it's Simon the Zealot in the Gospel lists. Anyway, Matthew, going back to 25, swinging back, it's hard to follow these harmonies, or concordance, whatever yours is called, synopsises. Uses the word rabbi, which is a very late expression. John goes on about in line 29 of John 13. But Jesus said to buy the things we need of and give something to the poor. And then he went out straight away. So it's a different sort of portrayal in John there of the situation. But notice, don't forget to remember the poor in Galatians. They were talking to Paul when Paul talks about what James told him at the visit to Jerusalem, that he could go to the Gentiles, but he should not forget to remember the poor being the name of the church or the assembly of God, if you want to call it that, in Jerusalem, the Ebionites, the Ebionim, E-B-I-O-N. Okay, so they go through this meal, and again, I guess we already had it, Matthew 26:29. I will not drink the fruit of the vine until I drink it with you in the kingdom. That may just mean I'm not going to drink any more anything of that kind. Mark has that 14:25, but before that then we have the communion, breaking the bread, blessing it and so on, drinking. And in 28 of Matthew, for this is my blood of the covenant, which is shed for the many unto the remission of sins. Again, the many, or poured out for the many. Then he goes on about not drinking, and Mark sort of says the same thing. He gave to drink. This is the blood of the new covenant, which is poured out or shed for the many. And they drink. And Luke has this do, the doing ideology, in remembrance of me. And the cup in this manner. This is the cup of the new covenant in my blood, which is poured out for you. Okay. The cup of the new covenant in my blood. Let's look at Paul again here quickly. 1 Corinthians. Again, it's a very important letter when he's talking about that he can eat anything and stop making troubles about things sacrificed to idols, attacking James's instructions to oversee his communities. He goes on then to talk about what he received. Luke 11:23. The Lord Jesus took bread on the night he was delivered up, and after giving thanks he broke it and said, take, eat, this is my body which is broken for you. Do this in remembrance of me. So Luke is picking up Paul here, or vice versa. And he took the cup, saying, this is the cup of the new covenant in my blood.